Picture this. Right outside your window, there's a meal waiting for you, completely free, growing back every single day, in every park, every field, every backyard on the planet. You don't need money for it. You don't need a store. You just need to bend down and take a bite. Sounds like the end of world hunger, right? Except there's a catch. If you actually tried it, you'd chew for hours, swallow mouthful after mouthful, and still end up hungrier than when you started. Meanwhile, a horse standing right next to you could eat the exact same patch of grass and walk away completely fed. Same plant, same bite, two completely different outcomes. So what does a horse have that you don't? And, more importantly, what does that missing piece say about the entire story of human evolution? Let's find out. First, let's kill a myth. Grass isn't nutritionally empty. It's loaded with sugar, protein, minerals, even water. The problem isn't the ingredients, it's the packaging. And the packaging is actually 2 layers deep, not one. The first layer is cellulose, a tough chain of glucose molecules your enzymes simply can't unlock. But there's a second, even nastier layer called lignin, a woody compound that basically cements the cellulose in place, like pouring concrete over a lock just to make sure nobody ever opens it. Almost nothing on Earth can break lignin down efficiently. Not cows, not termites, barely anything. It's one of the reasons dead grass and wood take so long to rot in nature. Here's where it gets interesting. Cellulose and starch are chemically almost identical. Both are long chains of glucose. The only difference is how the links are arranged, like 2 necklaces made from the same beads, one strung normally, one strung backward. Your enzymes glide through starch. They bounce off cellulose, not because it's dangerous, but because your body never built the enzyme needed to crack it, cellulase. So who does have cellulase? Almost nobody, not even the animals famous for eating grass. Cows outsource the job entirely. Inside a cow's stomach lives an invisible workforce of bacteria and microbes that ferment the grass for it. But here's something most people never hear about. Not every grass eater uses the same trick. Cows are what scientists call foregut fermenters. They digest before the stomach even properly begins. Horses do the opposite. Horses are hindgut fermenters, meaning the food passes through a normal stomach first, completely undigested, and only ferments later inside a giant pouch near the end of the intestine called the cecum. It's a faster system, but a much less efficient one, which is exactly why horses need to eat almost constantly throughout the day, just to get enough energy. Rabbits took this idea even further, and it's genuinely strange. A rabbit's cecum ferments grass just like a horse's does, but a rabbit's body absorbs almost none of those nutrients the first time through. So rabbits do something almost nobody expects. They produce a special soft dropping, eat it again, and digest it a second time. It's called secotrophy, and it means a single mouthful of grass can pass through a rabbit's body twice before it's actually used. Evolution basically decided that if one pass through the gut wasn't enough, the animal should just run the food through twice. Humans never built any of that. No cecum big enough to matter. No cud chewing, no re-eating our own waste. Our gut is short, fast, and built for meat, fruit, and cooked starch. Even if you swallowed enough cellulose to choke a cow, your intestines simply don't give microbes enough time to work. And the cost of trying is brutal. A cow spends 6 to 8 hours a day just eating, then hours more chewing cud. Humans went the opposite direction, chasing small amounts of extremely high-quality food instead. Fruit, eggs, fish, meat, tubers, honey. That shift rebuilt our skulls. Around 2 million years ago, our ancestors' brains exploded in size. Your brain is about 2% of your body weight, but burns nearly 20% of your resting energy. Grass could never fund that kind of demand. Better calories could. Then fire multiplied everything. Cooking softens tissue, breaks down starch, kills parasites, and hands the body significantly more usable energy from the same food. It was a cheat code, free extra calories every day. Instead of growing a bigger gut, we grew a bigger brain. Technology replaced biology. There's an even wilder outlier that proves this rule, the giant panda. A panda's digestive system is almost pure carnivore, nearly identical to a bear's. Short gut, no cellulose, no fermenting microbes worth mentioning. And yet pandas eat almost nothing but bamboo, a plant absolutely packed with cellulose. The result is one of the most inefficient diets in the animal kingdom. Pandas absorb only a small fraction of the energy in the bamboo they eat. So they compensate by eating for 10 to 16 hours a day and moving as little as possible the rest of the time. It's proof that you can technically force a body built for meat to survive on plants, but the price is almost your entire waking life. Grass fights back in another way most people never consider: silica. Grass blades are packed with microscopic, glass-like particles called phytoliths, and chewing enough of them wears teeth down fast. That's exactly why grazing animals like horses and cows evolved tall, high-crowned teeth called hypsodont teeth. Teeth built to keep growing or wearing down slowly over a lifetime of grinding. Human teeth are low-crowned, built for occasional chewing of softer food, not for a lifetime of sanding grass with every bite. Even if your gut could somehow handle grass, your teeth would grind down long before your stomach ever became the problem. History actually gives us a grim demonstration of all this. During severe famines throughout history, from wartime sieges to droughts, desperate people have resorted to eating grass, tree bark, and leaves to survive. Records describe how it filled the stomach, but provided almost no real nourishment. People weakened and starved with visibly full bellies. It's a devastating real-world confirmation of everything happening biologically. Fullness and nutrition are not the same thing. Even our closest relatives support this. Chimpanzees and gorillas eat huge amounts of leaves daily. Gorillas can eat over 40 pounds of vegetation a day, and their oversized bellies are essentially fermentation chambers, not fat. Humans shrank that chamber down over millions of years, trading gut size for speed and mobility. Agriculture eventually solved the puzzle in the cleverest way possible. About 10,000 years ago, humans didn't domesticate grass itself. We domesticated its seeds: wheat, rice, corn, barley. Seeds hold enormous starch with far less indigestible fiber than leaves or stems. Civilization wasn't built by learning to eat grass. It was built by discovering the one edible fragment hiding inside it. This pattern shows up everywhere in our story. Birds evolved wings. We built planes. Fish evolved gills. We built submarines. Grazers evolved fermentation chambers and towering teeth. We built farms and ovens instead. Cellulose still isn't worthless to us, though. In your gut, trace amounts get fermented by bacteria into compounds your body absorbs, and dietary fiber overall supports digestion and gut health. We can't burn it for fuel, but we still lean on it for maintenance. So why can't humans eat grass? Not because it lacks nutrition, not because evolution forgot something, not because we're weaker than a rabbit or a horse. It's because evolution placed its bet elsewhere. On brains instead of stomachs, on fire instead of fermentation, on farming instead of grazing. Which brings us back to that lawn outside your window. To a horse, it's an endless, free buffet. To you, it's basically inedible, not because the energy isn't there, but because millions of years ago, evolution decided your survival wouldn't depend on the size of your stomach. It would depend on the size of your brain.